Today on Geek Devotions, we are talking all about birds of prey, and with this video, viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to Geek Devotions. This is a channel from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting you know that you are loved. Dallas is out sick this week and asked me to step in for him, so please make sure that you guys drop some love and some comments below and some prayers to let him know that you guys are thinking about him. And I'm so grateful that Dallas and Celeste gave me this platform to be here with you guys this week. I had an opportunity to do Captain's Comic Log this week, so you guys had me for 2 times this month. My name is Captain Nostalgia. I am the host of the podcast and YouTube channel Victims and Villains. We are the marriage between pop culture and suicide prevention. If you guys want to check us out, or you or yourself are struggling with suicide or depression, we have links in the descriptions below for you guys. But like I said, we're here talking all about birds of prey. So in the first volume, in the 15th issue, way back in the 90s, we meet a woman named Olivia Kershit. And Olivia is a neighbor to Dinah, and Dinah is the black canary, if you guys don't know too much about the birds of prey mythology. So after a mission, Dinah is downstairs at her apartment complex, and she's getting her mail that she's received while she was away. And so in walks Olivia with a pretty big and noticeable black eye. And so Dinah asks the doorman, what's her deal? What's her story? And she gets the information she desires, and she goes up to talk to Olivia. And so this is the exchange that we read between the two characters. Olivia asks, what do you care? Are you some kind of hero? Dinah simply replies, just a neighbor. Could be a friend. So really allow what Dinah is saying here to really sink in. You see, within the parameters of the DC universe and the mythology, Black Canary, Dinah is, just as Olivia calls her, a hero. But for this very moment in time, all she wants to be is a neighbor. So Jesus actually speaks on the subject of neighboring in Matthew 22, verses 35 to 39. And he says, and one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question to test him. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? And he said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And the second is like this. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. In this moment, Jesus is taking the 10 commandments and the vastness of the law set up in the Old Testament, and he is boiling it down to 2 simple commandments, both of which are love. To love the Lord your God with all your heart, body, mind, soul, and strength. Basically with all of your being. Pour that into your love and your devotion for your Savior. But the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. And even when Jesus is talking about enemies, look what he says. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. This world will tell you exactly what Jesus says here in verse 43. It's not just the audience he's addressing, it's the audience he's addressing here today. And the world will tell you to hate your enemy. Within these first 2 verses, Jesus tells us to love not only our neighbors, but our enemies. And he dares to even go further by telling us to pray for those who persecute us. The enemies or the bullies that we have personally within our own path, they are in need of God's love the most. And so I want to issue this decree first and foremost. When was the last time that you truthfully prayed or loved an enemy? And so as Jesus continues, this is what he says. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good. He sends rain to the just and the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? If you hear nothing else from this video, please hear what Jesus is saying in verses 46 and 47. If you only love those who love you, what reward do you have? And if you only greet your brothers, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the tax collectors do this. Do not even the Gentiles do this. Jesus is comparing the actions of the religious rulers, the sinners, those outside of the original covenant of his day, to those of the kingdom. Are you daring to love your enemies? Are you daring to pray for them? Are you greeting those who wronged you? Are you even daring to serve them? Dinah doesn't have to step in, but she does so because she's a neighbor, a hero, and someone daring for friendship. This woman, Olivia, she is a victim of domestic violence. Domestic violence sees nearly 20 people in a single minute experience abuse from a significant other. In the span of 1 year, this averages out to over 10 million men and women who suffer from domestic violence. In 2017, there were 1.3 million attempted suicides in the United States. And there were 173 successful suicides that took place. People that were looking at their situations and just saying, this is hopeless, this is my only hope, this is the only solution that I have. Please understand the power of love. Please understand the power of God's love. In 1 John chapter 4, verses 7 and 8, it reads, "Beloved, let us love one another. For love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love." As Hawk Nelson puts it, we're the ones who fight down on our knees, who dare to love our enemies. This season, the best gift that you can give someone is love. Whose neighbor will you be?